welcome to my first tutorial. For this project, you're going to need a 6-sided cardboard or wooden box. Well, it's got more than 6 sides, but hexagonal shaped box and some blue paint. If you search online for a cardboard 6-sided box, you should be able to find a few different sizes, so just, obviously choose the one that you want. I've also used spray paint for this project before. It did get a little sticky, so you have to leave it outside for a little bit longer, but the painting does go way faster, so it's just honestly what you have around the house or what you're comfortable purchasing. Acrylic paint can be pretty cheap versus a whole can of teal spray paint, but it's totally up to you. So you're just going to paint the whole thing, all the outside. You can paint the inside too if you want. I don't remember if I did. It looks like I did. You won't need to paint the bottom of the box, the interior bottom of the box, so feel free to leave that alone. This next part is the part that I think takes the most amount of skill, which is painting straight lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. Mine clearly is not, but you can just, it's okay if it's messy. It's okay. It's not meant to be perfect. The original isn't even perfect. It's handmade, so don't be too bogged down by the straightness of it. One important detail is that the lines do get thinner towards the outside of the center of the box, which helps when you're then drawing those lines down like this, because they tend to get really thick if you make the lines really thick. So just make sure to make those outside lines a little bit thinner than the first ones you painted in the middle. After you finish painting those lines, let everything dry and make sure you're keeping your box lined up. You're going to need a pink or red ribbon for this next part. You're basically just making this box look like it's been tied with a bow. So wherever you're placing it in that front, you're just going to keep that line going around the whole box. And since you can't actually just wrap the ribbon around the whole thing, otherwise it won't be able to open, you're gonna cut off the ribbon and tuck it into the top of the box like this. And you're just going to do the same thing on the other side. And now that you've got your snazzy top, you're going to go ahead and pretty much do the same thing to the bottom. You're going to glue it down the middle and then tuck it into the insides of the box. And to keep that illusion that it's a ribbon-tied box, you can make sure everything's aligned by just taking your top and fitting it to the bottom and see if your ribbon still looks like it's lined up. Next is making our fake bow because, well, I guess you could just tie it into a bow, but the one in the film is very flat. So I like to just fold over some ribbon and kind of pinch it in the middle so it gets a little bit warped. And then you just glue that in place on the box, right in the middle pretty much. Then I'm just taking another piece of ribbon and folding it over just a little bit and wrapping that around our fake bow to give the illusion of a knot in the center. The last part of the bow is to make the little legs, and that's just taking pieces of ribbon, cutting a V shape into the bottom, I like to singe the ends so that they don't fray, and then I just glue everything into place. And your little bow is done. You can definitely stop here if you want to use the box for storage or whatever, but if you want it to be more screen accurate, then I would line the inside with some pink fabric. I'm loosely tucking things into the different corners so I get a general shape of what it's supposed to be, and I'm gonna go back in and glue everything into place. It's okay if it's a little bit messy, it doesn't have to lie completely flat. I kind of like when it's a little bit bunched up, but here's what it's gonna look like after it's glued in. Next is my favorite part. You get to pick out whatever colored buttons you want. Black is traditional, so I went with those. You're also gonna need some black thread. I did not have any cute looking spools, but I did have these fake spools from Michael's, I think, that I just took some yarn and wrapped around. For this project, I would say pay attention to the proportions of your box in comparison to the items you put inside of it. If you make buttons too small or the spool too big, the needle too small, it just might look a little bit off. Once you've picked out your different items, you can glue them down or not, because then you can replace your buttons and play around with it some more. But this is what it should look like at the end. If you guys like this kind of video style from me or want to see something different, please let me know. Also, a special thank you to all my Patreon members. You guys are incredible and your support means everything to me. And I'll see you guys on the next one.